I think this use of ibogaine is another one that can have a massively powerful, positive effect on this country, and I think even in the world.
Never quit. Never quit radio.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the TNQ podcast. I'm your host, Marcus Luttrell. Every week, it's my job to fire you up, to ignite the legend inside of you, and to push you to your greatness. Join me every week as I take you into my briefing room with some of the most hard-charging people on the planet. They're going to show you how to embrace the suck of life, teach you the values of working your ass off, and charge through whatever life throws at you. This is the Team Never Quit podcast. So buckle up, Buttercup.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Team Never Quit podcast. As always, thank you guys for listening and watching, and please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button wherever you get your show. So today, we have got a very special guest for you, but before we get to him, let's kick it off with our weekly Patreon question. And this week we have, where is your all-time favorite barbecue place?
Whew,
Man,
that's
a loaded question.
That's
right?
a killer right there.
Yeah.
If you're from Texas,
That's a
then,
loaded question.
I mean, I'm not sure you can answer that. That may be one of the impossible.
Because if you do, everyone we know who owns the barbecue places are going to be like.
But I mean, because I can argue a handful that are the best. I mean, Truth Barbecue, and
Truth is good.
in the Heights in Brenham, and now they've got Merric Meat Company right there in Roundtop, Texas. Man, we don't have to go but 3 miles from the house, and Leon Botello, what a great guy. Aggie, by the way, which makes him even better. So he's put these together and done a fabulous job. He
Damn
and
good
his,
model
his
Texan.
bride. Yeah, he's awesome. Man,
You've got your famous ones in Austin.
Franklin's?
yeah, and over Snow's
Salt
in
Lake?
Lexington, Salt Lake.
Ours is Tejas. Tejas Grill, probably the best.
Our best local.
Is that the one in Montgomery?
It's in Tomball.
Tomball.
Oh, in Tomball. Okay.
We have a great.
It's a barbecue / chocolate factory.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been in
I
there.
mean,
we
you
did.
won't talk
We
about-
did an event over there for Morgan.
We did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great barbecue.
That
The
was
brisket
awesome.
cuts like steak.
And then have yourself a piece of chocolate that will
Then
make you
afterward,
slap
yeah,
your mama.
Just freaking knock you down.
Dang.
And they're really good people.
They're great people.
Yeah. We have a
Yeah.
lot of. I feel like barbecue, your favorite barbecue should just be whatever's closest to you. And for us, because, we're in the Tomball, Magnolia area, we've got the meeting place.
What's the one in Waller? Why did I just draw a blank? on?
Waller County Line.
County Line.
Yeah.
Freaking good.
It's across from Buc-ee's.
So a loaded question.
Yeah,
Hunter.
totally loaded question.
I'll tell you what,
loaded question.
Huntsville, there's one
It
called.
can't be answered. I think you will not know that answer until you get to heaven.
All right, well,
That's a
would
good
you
one.
say it's Texas over any other state?
Oh,
yeah,
that's
I mean,
not close.
even
I mean,
a question.
that's
you
not
know,
even.
you don't even ask that question.
So,
I mean,
and I think in 2011, I was running for president, and we were over in, I think, Charlotte, North Carolina, doing an event, and one of the reporters came up and said, Governor, in 1992, when the Republican convention was in Houston, you said that North Carolina barbecue was just one step up from roadkill, which I did say. And
I said that, yeah.
I'd kind of forgotten about it. And, it's kind of like, do you still think that? And it's kind of like, well, you're wanting these people from North Carolina to vote for you. And I
Yeah.
said, well, I said,
My God, y'all remember
I hope-
everything.
Yeah.
You have great beans. You have to just.
So, but
get on
anyway,
the
other,
side.
there's all these different kinds of barbecue out there. When you think about it, there's the shredded stuff, and there's all kinds of different sauces.
Freaking the porks.
And it's kind of like, and it's got its place, right?
Yeah.
But it's not barbecue. It's not Texas barbecue. We're talking brisket, sausage. Oh, dude. Nothing else even gets close. And that's not being just overtly Texan, which I am, but our barbecue's better than anybody's in the world. It's not even a question.
I think, okay, so I think a change to that question would be if you're going to a barbecue restaurant and you're bringing someone that has never had barbecue, someone from out of the country or something like that, or wherever, what do you order? What's your
Man, brisket.
pick of the menu?
Listen, and you know, and there's different types of brisket. My wife likes lean brisket. I like a little more on the fatty side.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that.
I mean, she likes it dry.
I like
dry.
lean. I like lean with sauce, and I like it to pull apart real easy. He likes it to cut like thick.
Fat layer and that's
Yeah, I don't like the fat.
I got that marbling in there.
Ah.
Well, it's like a good, it's like a good ribeye. It's got, you get that marbling in there. That marbling is what gives it the flavor, in my opinion. So anyway, that's what makes the world go round. We're all different and this, that, and the other. So, but
good question.
You don't get confused about where the best barbecue is.
Well, I do have to say a little plug for Tejas. They have a jalapeno and cheese sausage that Marcus loves. Every time I go by there, I have to grab him some.
Yeah, the thing about what Leonard Botella's done, and his mother's, oh my God, she makes a red velvet cake.
Oh, I love red velvet cake.
And an Italian cream cake.
Oh, I love Italian.
I'm telling you, it's like his mama's cakes are the best I've ever had.
That's pretty good.
You get through eating yourself a nice little brisket plate there. But what I was going to say is that they do some sides that are stunningly good. They do Brussels sprouts. Their potato salad is just stunning. The coleslaw, the beans. I mean, this is the best barbecue place in Texas. I'm going to say Snow's is a close second because Tootsie makes it a close second. Tootsie is the most awesome woman in the world, the pitmaster of all pitmasters. She's one of the most lovely ladies you've ever met. And so my top two, Truth and Snow's.
Nice.
If you're in the Willis, Huntsville area, there's Early's Barbecue. It's possible to find. It's back off Calvary Road in Shepherd Hill. It's only open on the weekends. It's been there since I was a boy. And Mount Zion in Huntsville. It's an old church.
Isn't that awesome?
On Sundays.
That there's all of these little, kind of hole in the wall barbecue places that you can take a road trip, take your loved ones, take a friend like you were talking about, Mel, somebody that's never been there before, and go to a place where they're going to have a memorable, if not once in a lifetime experience of having their first Texas barbecue.
There's some real chefs. To be able to prep that meat for as long as it takes to cook and as easy as that is to mess up, there's some talent.
I don't know if I'm saying it right, but there's one in Houston called Feges, I think, Feges, that's really good too over at Greenway Plaza.
I don't know if I've heard of that one.
Yeah, and I think it's a Marine that owns it.
Oh, definitely got to get a shot.
Yeah, and it's really good.
Is that the one that's in the hub?
It's underneath Greenway Plaza.
Yeah.
Or it used to be when I used to go to my dad's office. I would go down under there and
downtown. Well, I
really
guess that's
good.
not really downtown, but it's inside the loop.
Yeah.
Barbecue place. You don't think about that, but
Yeah,
you can smell that stuff driving down the road, man. It'll make it turn around.
Yeah, for sure.
Another one in Mission Barbecue. We went over to that event.
Mission Barbecue, but they're not in Texas yet.
I know, but maybe.
Yeah.
Where are they?
They're everywhere but Texas.
They've
they
got
didn't want to compete
50 plus locations.
With
they can't compete.
Texas
I'm just going to lay it out
barbecue.
right now. They can't compete, so they just don't come here.
It's not even an option.
Sorry,
I'm
I'm
But
not going to diss
say
them.
this:
But
Mission Barbecue is it's a father of military, like all his kids are in the military, and I think he's the son of military, and they do so much give back for veteran organizations.
All right, we'll give them a pass then.
A ton of give back, and it's really good food.
Well, I want to lay down the challenge.
Yeah.
Come on into Texas. Yeah. I mean, if you're that good, if the Luttrells are bragging about you, you can compete here. So just come on in.
I think
we
we
won't
should give 'em a
overtax you.
chance.
We won't overregulate you. We won't overlitigate you, and you'll like it being in Texas.
I think we do need
Show
to
up
give
at
them
the
a
Danny
chance.
Dietz Rodeo, the barbecue cook-off.
There you go.
Yeah. I definitely think we need to give them a
Put your
chance.
thing
They're
down.
great people. So, yeah.
That's a
Mission
good question.
Barbecue.
That's a good
awesome.
question.
Well, let me, if I may, what I'm spending my time doing now, what I'm passionate about, started 17 years ago when you kind of rolled into our life, totally by the grace of God there at the Special Warfare Center on Coronado Island. And I think it was the end of July of 2006. And I made that fateful statement of, hey, if you're ever through Austin, come by and see us. Like, fat chance you're going to get in the governor's mansion, right?
I'll never forget that. That was a great time. When you showed up out there.
It was. There were a lot of interesting days that we got to spend together. Marcus would be over. I'd be at the governor's mansion and there in the governor's office conducting the state's business and what have you, and he'd be sitting over in the corner of the governor's office, reading a book or doing what have you. Just I found a picture the other day, Marcus. I'm walking out of the governor's mansion. There's we're having a talk with somebody, and there you are, kind of standing in the background doing the some kind of. You weren't giving me bunny ears, but it was pretty hilarious.
You remember all that? I remember the time we'd go from the mansion over into the Capitol, and you had to, when you were at work, I just sit in the corner over there and watching everybody come in. That was some of the greatest times of my life, man.
Yeah. So one of my most memorable days about that period was, I think it was in May of 2008. It was about a year after you'd come to live with us, and we were at Danny Janeka's place fishing. That great bass.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we got to get the boys together one of these days and go. Lane.
Or his grandson or his?
No, it's Lane.
Lane.
It's the son, and now the grandchildren of Danny Janeka are over there in the business. I mean, but we were sitting out there. Jay Kimbrough was with us. General Weber was with us.
It was.
And that's when you got the call. I got a picture of
Remember
you
that?
on the phone when you got the call that your book, Lone Survivor, had just gone to #1 on the New York Times bestseller list.
I remember we were out in the middle there, and they had the youngster that was tying all the bait. Every time you go to change it, I mean, this kid was phenomenal. And then our phones kept ringing and ringing and ringing, and I wouldn't answer it. And we were having conversations back and forth, these kind of life lessons. And sure enough, as soon as we hit the shore, I picked up my phone, and they were like, "Hey," I was like, "What's the matter?" And they were like, "You went to #1. You're #1." Isn't that great?
Yeah.
I was like, "That's pretty cool, man, but you're not going to believe the size of the bass."
You can't believe we just caught a 7-pound bass out here, dude. You ought to have seen this
thing.
thing.
Freaking huge. And
That's
then
awesome.
That's what everything got fun.
It puts things in perspective.
I didn't know what that meant. I
Yeah,
had
well,
no idea what
that's
that-
pretty cool. I'm glad I got to be #1, but you ought to see this bass,
See this
man.
bass.
That is too funny.
But we got to go back. I called Danny and he said, "Hey, y'all, come on out." And so we need to get Morgan
That was a great time.
You need to
and,
get
and you
Axe.
and Axe.
He's a
Griffin.
big-time fisherman now.
Axe wants to be a professional fisherman.
Well,
And a
he
firefighter.
He's ready to
That's what he
quit
said he wanted to do.
school.
I mean, what a lineup.
There you go.
A professional bass fisherman and a firefighter.
There you
Yeah.
are. Two great professions right there.
And bass fishing is the one job you can do it and not make any money and still live.
Yep.
It'll
Yeah.
feed you.
If anyone's listening and you run a bass fishing tournament, Axe wants to compete.
Or if you're looking to sponsor a kid.
Yeah, if you have a lure company.
I mean, he's into it so much. He tied the lures and he was pulling it in the bathtub to see which one sank, which one was in mid
how
runner, and
how it goes in the water.
Wow.
Like,
he's always on YouTube studying in
Technical.
it. And then we were fishing the other day, and he was telling me, "Dad, you got to do it like this. I was like, "Okay, all right."
very into it.
That's awesome. Well, we'll load them up and take them over there. Danny Janeka.
Because I told him about
JB Sausage. That's Danny's company over in Welder, Texas. Just a great, wonderful American Texan patriot. Danny Janeka and his family they've given so much back to the veteran community in various and sundry ways, and been just a really great source. Earl Campbell.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, Earl's sausage was made by Danny Janeka there at J&B
nice.
Sausage. And so that kind of weaves our story back in together. That's how I met Stan Jones, is through Earl Campbell, literally walking outside of the McBride's gun store in Austin, Texas, and there was a burnt orange Hummer with the window about half darkened glass and the window about halfway down. I was walking by and fixing to go get in the vehicle, and I heard this, "Hey, Governor."
That's exactly how they would say it too.
He said, "Hey, Governor," and he handed me his phone and said, "Say hello to my doctor." And I just took the phone, said hello, and it was Stan Jones. Never heard of Stan Jones before in my life. And, and he was telling me he's from Plainview, Texas, went to Texas Tech and then to UT Southwestern. He was a spine surgeon. He had worked on Earl's knees and Earl's back and Coach Royal's cervical area in his neck. He got Darrell Royal back where he could play golf again. And, of course, Darrell just, prayed at his altar because he was able to fix him where he could play golf again. But anyway, Stan is the guy who, when you were living with us and we figured out that you had to have these technical back surgeries, and I told you, I said, "Hey, no offense, but you ain't going to the VA. We're going to find somebody that's really highly technical here to be able to do this." And I called a couple of orthopedic surgeons, and they were a little bit nervous about, you didn't have any insurance. Anyway, I called Stan up, and your book had been out for, I don't know, a few months, I guess, and he had read it, interestingly. And so I start talking to him about, "Hey, I got this kid who's living with us and needs to have back surgery. He's this, he's that." And he went, "Is that the kid who wrote the book?" And I was kind of like, "Yeah." He said, "You bring him in. I'll take care of him. You don't worry about anything. I got this." And that's when we started you on the road to your physical rehab, and he did a great job. And
he did.
I guess had a couple of
them through him,
and then
Charlie Gordon.
Charlie Gordon over in Tyler.
Those two, and then when you sent me to Andrews.
Oh yeah, Dr. Andrews. That was Athletes Performance.
Yes,
sir.
Yeah,
Exos now.
It's now called Exos in Pensacola.
I still go.
Well, you go in every year, haven't you?
Year,
I mean,
17,
every fall.
17 years. And then I still check in with Doc Gordon. I call him.
Yeah,
hey,
I talk to
checking
Charlie.
in.
Well, Charlie's really helpful. And, when I started this conversation, I was going to tell you what I'm passionate about, what I'm working on. It started through you. And then, during, I think in 2008, when you introduced us to Morgan, Morgan was still being deployed. Then was it 2009 when he had the accident?
He got in a helicopter crash.
Yeah, I think.
Were we married? No, it was 9. It had to be 9.
Yeah, it was 9. It was before because y'all got married in 10, right? So anyway,
remember, I was at the hospital. I was in the hospital.
You were there. This is one of those grace of God deals. I mean, this ain't
you can't make
coincidental,
this
man.
stuff up.
So we'd met Morgan out on the West Coast. On the East Coast. He was on Team 8 then, if my memory serves me correct. And then we'd met and what have you, and he was still deploying. You were living with us, and we found that place in Florida to send you to for the opioid addiction, and so you were there. I think either when he had the accident.
I was there.
And his accident was I think a nighttime insertion, helicopter insertion on a naval vessel. This was a training exercise, and the helicopter hit a cable on the vessel, and it catastrophically crashed on the deck, and I think killed at least killed some of the fellows, burned some, broke Morgan's back, threw him out of the helicopter, and he hit the deck
off the superstructure.
Yeah,
that's where they found him.
Yeah, so fortunate to be not.
I'll never forget when that call came in. It was the middle of the night. I sat up. I was kind of feeling sick, and then immediately, I'll never forget. I tried to call you, and then it went to voicemail. So I called John Bardis, and I was like, "I need help." I said, "My brother's been in a helicopter crash in Virginia. I need to get there." And he sent his plane for me that night, and I landed. And I remember getting a ride to the hospital, and I was looking for my brother. And they were like, "He's down in the MRI tube." So I went down to the MRI facility, which they keep in the basement, and he had gotten the hiccups because they juiced him with some Vicodin, and they couldn't put him in the MRI tube because he had the hiccups so bad with a broken back and a broken pelvis. And I walked in there and looked at him, and he kind of looked at me. He's like, "Brother," and I was like, "Man, I hope I don't look as bad as you do." And I was like, "We're going to get through this." And he was in the hospital for a while. We snuck him out of the hospital. We stole him and brought him home. And then he was messed up. He's like, I think I need to go back to the hospital. So we had to take him back. And then all the guys, we had team guys sleeping on the floor in the room.
He had on a full body
Full
cast.
body
as
cast.
I
Yep.
recall.
On that body.
Because he broke his coccyx.
Yeah.
Right?
He broke everything down
Yeah,
there.
like-
Everything down there was broke.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So anyway, you went back to Axios, and they sent him to Axios,
With me.
correct?
Correct.
Exos. Yeah.
Exos, excuse me. Excuse me.
That's right. We were there together.
Yeah, how do you spell it?
EXOS.
EXOS, Exos. Yeah,
I was almost there for 6 months on that.
yeah. But they fixed you on the
man.
on the
Everything.
opioid side of
Yeah, yeah.
things and got you
Back
headed
in
in the
shape.
right direction.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like a mind, body, spirit type of place.
Yep.
Yeah, and I've never visited. I
Oh, you
know
should
it by
go.
your reputation and what you and Morgan have both been through, but it's obviously a very, very successful place. Hopefully, as we make progress on getting ibogaine off of Schedule 1 and through the clinical trials, that those are the kind of facilities that we'll have available, and they'll have ibogaine available to treat for the traumatic brain injury.
Oh, dude, if you
and
combine all those.
oh yeah, you think about it, Exos would be
That's unbelievable.
an amazing facility. When you think about the addiction problems that we got in this country, when you think about the mental health problems that we got in this country, when you think about and I'm comfortable with the results that we're seeing out of Ambio in Mexico. That Parkinson's, MS, I think the potential for any brain-related malady, whether it's a disease or whether it happens because of a traumatic brain injury, a concussion, etc. I think CTE for the NFL.
I would be so interested in seeing what.
I'm telling you. As a matter of fact, I owe Robert Gallery a call because he was going to go back and get
Great
it.
dude.
I'm telling you, and what a wonderful patriot,
He is.
and willing to go out there publicly talk
Tough.
about.
God, dude, so freaking tough.
Yeah. Well, you think about all of the guys that we loved and paid attention to and idolized when we were kids growing up, and that have been affected by traumatic brain injury, concussions, and now this, we know what it is. It's CTE.
Yeah.
And so
It's just life. There's this thing that life just kicked the crap out of everybody.
And you go through all of the different hockey players, rodeo cowboys. I mean, how many people who have these traumatic brain injuries, these multiple concussions, and now we know that these things are cumulative, and that there's a way to address that. There's a way to regenerate the brain, and I'm convinced that ibogaine is, that is a God-given plant medicine that we need to have available in this country. There are, when we still have 20 plus veterans a day killing themselves, I kind of look people in the face and say, how bad you got to hate somebody to not make this available to them.
Mm-hmm. And not only the veterans, but the people that have had trauma in their life, childhood trauma or rape or even car wrecks, like anything that has caused some sort of trauma response.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this.
Think
the
about
other
our
day.
friend Hughes, Matt Hughes.
Matt.
Matt, of course, Matt was
He got hit by a train.
you got hit
That's
by
how
a
freaking
train.
tough that dude
Yeah.
is, and took it.
Yeah. And I really want to get a hold of him and say, hey, you need to consider this, because I know he's struggling with it. All the concussions he had from fighting, and then this this massive concussion from the train. So when
There's so many people that can benefit from it.
yeah. Well, and that's the big population. I mean, we focus on the veterans because they're the easiest population to go sell to the public that, hey, these guys deserve our assistance here. They deserve to have this plant medicine available to them. We need to get it off of Schedule 1, get it into clinical trials, move with a lot of expedition.
Well, they're also willing to be the guinea pigs.
Yeah, we're the ground pounders.
Yeah.
Like I remember before I went to the military, you look at them differently. You think differently, and they're the ones that go in, take the heat, and get beat down, and do it. And if it's working on them and they're,
I had a guy say something to me really interesting yesterday, Marcus. They had seen the Joe Rogan podcast and they were talking to me.
good job on that one.
That was, thanks to Joe Rogan for
hey,
letting us come on.
Podfather. That guy's awesome.
Yeah, he is. Let me tell you.
Yeah, did you have a good time?
Oh, it was
He's
awesome.
great.
We had a great time.
Oh, good.
And of course, Brian Hubbard, who's
What did he? I
one
just
of the
wish
most
I could have been there when
genius
Joe
guys.
saw when Barnabas opened up or Brian opened up his mouth.
you can tell him why you call him Barnabas.
All right, so when y'all meet this guy,
Is Brian Hubbard.
great dude. And I remember when he came walking up on me the first time. I just remember the first thing in my head was I was going to ask him. I was like, and he said hello to me. I was like, just a real question, real fast, man. I was like, was there a broken down bus or an old barn next to your house when you were raised up, man? Because he is hick, man.
He is a country boy.
Yeah.
He looks like a hillbilly from the northeastern part of Kentucky, and he is.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to hand it to the Almighty what they wrapped them dudes in, man.
I'm
Because when he
telling
showed
you,
up, and
his chest, he's bigger than you.
He's a big guy, huge.
I bet you his chest is, it looks like it's
looks like Hacksaw Jim
24
Duggan. You remember that dude from
inches.
wrestling? That
Yeah.
guy looks like.
He's so smart.
he is a
Oh,
genius.
The first time
Literally.
we heard him speak, I was not expecting him to tell the story that he told. Like, he's way, I don't know.
Oh, he is absolutely a genius.
is,
I truly
yeah.
believe that. I mean, I have no idea what his IQ is, but I know smart people when
you know him.
when I see him.
When they
Yeah.
walk up on you, you can tell.
And when he after 5 minutes of him talking, you're like, wow.
He's impressive for sure.
Wow, I'm glad I got pitched into the tent with him, and we make a pretty good team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he is a brilliant guy doing a lot of work. The Texas Ibogaine Initiative, which is what we're working on, we're partnered up. We got a group of people both in Austin working with the legislators, and as a matter of fact, Brian is meeting with Senator Lois Colkhorst, who's my senator. Just a great woman, been in the legislative process for probably coming on 20 years now, lives there in Brenham, Texas, and we hope she's going to be carry the bill for us in the Senate. And what this is going to do is allow for clinical trials to be done in the state of Texas with Ibogaine, and working with a drug developer, most likely with some of the hospitals. We're blessed in this state to have Texas Medical Center, largest medical center in the world. More doctors and nurses and researchers and technicians go to work there than any other place in the world. It's ours. It's Texas. We got UT Southwestern up in Dallas, where just stunningly good hospitals in this state. Texas A&M, Texas Tech. We have this great medical foundation in this state, and so
And Baylor Scott and White.
Oh yeah, it's the largest healthcare provider in the state. All of those collectively just give us this real cornucopia, if you will, of medical facilities of which we could do these clinical trials, and so I'm excited that people are open to it. Number one, that's kind of my job, is to help educate the public. If you'd have told me 6 years ago that my name and psychedelics were going to be in the same sentence, I would have kind of
same thing goes in my head.
I don't.
Same for
I don't
me.
think so.
I would have never been okay with talking about psychedelics or advocating for psychedelics too.
Well, and I'm still very much against recreational use of drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, there was a new study, literally coming over here, heard it on the radio, a new study that came out about the use of cannabis. And I think they did 1,003 people in this trial. And it was people who were heavy users, moderate users, and zero users. 68% of the heavy users had decreased mental capability. And I think like in the 60% for the moderate users. And so on its face, this recreational use of drugs, common sense tells you, look, don't be out there experimenting with stuff that you don't know how it's going to affect you. That's one of the reasons that it's so important from my perspective that Ibogaine, we do the clinical trials. we've seen the results, over 1,000 that we've sent down to Ambio in Mexico through vets, and great results. But we want to make sure that we're doing it right, that we have an infrastructure in place, the proper medical oversight. We know there's a cardiac risk with this, and the magnesium drip that they came up with, both Dr. Nolan Williams from Stanford and down at Ambio, they know how to do it right. So having that background, having that knowledge, having that results that we know, then we can put this into place. And if Texas does it, then the rest of the country will follow.
Right. I think there'll be a tree, like with each one of those, from the ibogaine to the psilocybin, and you set it up for people whatever stage you're in life that's affecting you. I'm not telling you to quit. If you don't want to quit anything, don't quit. But if you're ready to quit and you're trying to get out of it, and if it's shackled you, there's actually stuff down here to help you with that.
And what you're talking about is like alcohol abuse is a great example. And the 12-step programs have saved probably millions of lives through the years. And my hat's off to, Alcoholics Anonymous, et cetera. But if you don't want to quit, generally speaking, you're not going to quit.
Not gonna.
So, and I think the same is true with ibogaine to a degree. It may make you quit something that you didn't have any intention of quitting, but it knows you need to quit. And I know that sounds a little woo-woo to people.
It sounds weird.
But
we understand that. We know that sounds weird.
Yep. Mm-hmm. But I'm telling you, all of these compounds that cause addiction, whether it's cocaine, heroin, fentanyl, opioids, alcohol, in a lot of cases, and particularly with alcohol, one treatment with ibogaine and no withdrawal symptoms. That's the stunning thing to me.
I think that scares most people's withdrawal thing.
And you talked about this in one of the other podcasts that I've seen you do, where you were talking about how the withdrawals from opioid is terrible.
Terrible.
I mean, just brutal, and takes a long period to happen. And what Brian Hubbard would tell you is that one treatment of ibogaine, and within 48 hours, gone. Mm-hmm. I mean, the brain has been reset, and he said it takes months for that to happen if you go off of opioids. Yeah. And this compound that I think it's changing out one opioid for another opioid with noxazone or whatever that compound's called that they use in the world today. Ibogaine, one treatment, and within 48 hours the desire is gone, the withdrawal gone. I mean, that I've said this. That sounds too good to be true.
It does, right?
I do think sometimes it's necessary for people to go back like a year or two later that might be feeling like itchy, again, to get back onto things. I mean, I don't think it's something that you have to repeatedly do, but in some cases...
Yeah, for some people, I think there's probably an appropriate reason for them to go back and be treated again. Listen, I try to be very blunt with folks. This is not a pleasant experience.
No, yeah.
It causes you to throw up for hours upon end. I mean, give them a little, just a quick, from the time you take the oral until.
Yeah, a lot of people ask me that just have heard different people speak on podcasts and they know that I'm involved. They'll ask me, what is the process? So can you go through, like, what is it? Is it a pill? Is it a vape? Is it a liquid? What is the whole thing?
For those in my generation, Generation X, think Matrix. You take the red pill. See how deep in the rabbit hole you are. All right. And then when you take that, the onset is anywhere from For me, it was fast. It hits me pretty quick. It's like 15, 20 minutes, and I'm already starting to feel it.
Some people up to 3 hours.
3 hours.
But you've got leads on you.
So it's a medical procedure. So you're hooked up to a 12 lead. They're monitoring your heart. They got an IV drip on you.
It's an EKG.
EKG, and everything's monitored. There's doctors around you. It's an absolute medical procedure. This isn't something that you do at the house by yourself or anything like that. And you may talk about the process, how you feel or what happens.
How you feel if you throw up? Do you pee your pants? Like, what is the whole?
Okay.
And the reason I want to share this is twofold. Number one, people are curious. But secondly, Ibogaine is on Schedule 1. Schedule 1 says that it is addictive and that it has no medical purpose. So,
yeah.
and that's a good basis to have the conversation about. This is the reason it does not to be on Schedule 1, because there ain't nothing addictive about this.
No.
Most people don't want to go do this again. And secondly, there is a clear medical purpose.
Sure. It's like walking into the principal's office. You don't go hang out in there.
Yeah.
And you're checking in. The best part about this is you can't lie to it. The human condition, the human body can lie to itself. You can talk yourself into anything and talk it out of that, and to somebody else. This you can't. And it's grown from the others. It's almost like, so as soon as you get in there and you take it and start to feel, your body starts to get a little bit heavy. Because what it does is it deactivates your body, so where you can just lay still. And then there's a lot of people hear a buzzing sound. Some people I've heard refer to it as a hummingbird, like right next to your ear with his wings flapping, or I thought it was a drone, actually, that they were flying a drone. And then that part comes on. That's almost like it's getting you ready. This is what you're about to go through. So you're laying there really still. Like I said, there's people watching you and everything like that. And then for me, it was a visual. Imagine all your memories that you have stored up in your mind. It gets put into a movie. All right, and you got a blindfold on.
A mask on.
And you're kind of laying there. And then it starts. And then there are absolutely kind of levels of it. You go through one phase and it pauses for a second, then it goes into something else. And what it's doing is it's reconditioning and recalibrating, defragging your computer. I've heard it said like that. I thought that was a brilliant way to explain it. You're resetting it. The things that you get to see in there are entertaining to some people. Sometimes it scares people, but know that's you. That's what you're dealing with.
And that's different for everybody.
It's different for everybody. A lot of people don't see anything. Like I said, it's hard to put that down, but just the overall of how it starts is very similar for everybody. And I remember and it lasts all night, and then
when we talk about all night, we're talking about 12 to 14,
right,
15 hours.
And then when he was talking about purging or throwing up, imagine that you have something inside of you that's causing you to do the stuff that you don't want to do. And what the ibogaine does is it detaches it from the inside of you and makes you throw it out.
So are you actually feeling nauseous?
It comes on fast. You're laying there, you're perfectly fine, and then all of a sudden this nausea will hit, but it's not food poisoning nausea or hangover nausea that everyone hates.
Yeah, it's a purge.
I'd never experienced anything like it. And when they said, "Oh, you get sick," I was like, "Well, I don't like getting sick, man. I definitely don't like throwing up." But it happens so fast, and the minute it happens, you go back to normal. And think about this. Most humans, when they want to see something, like, how do I know this is happening to me? How do I know I'm getting fixed? Well, you want a physical response, it'll give it to you. And that's how you know. And then every time you purge something out of your body, you feel better. You feel like something bad or something that you didn't have inside of you has left. Mm-hmm. And then that continues. And then there's a pause. And then I think one of the best things when I woke up, they were like, "Hey, everything's recalibrated, including your sensors, your sensory receptors." When I eat food for the first time after that, it all tasted brand new. You know how you get that tingle behind your jawline when you hit something good? And just the overall clarity of when you come out of it is amazing. But there is a hangover afterwards when you get done. I mean, I think
part of it's because you've been up for nearly 24 hours.
So you're awake the whole time.
You're awake.
Yeah.
You're awake.
Yeah, you're conscious the whole time.
And if it's in the middle of the night, are you tired? Do you want to fall asleep?
It's different. You especially if you're used to going to bed early and you lay down. But I think one of the things that also wears you out is people are scared. I mean, you're kind of scared when you go into
Yeah.
it, and fear in itself
Yeah.
will
So you're
deplete
scared
you.
to fall asleep.
Deplete your energy. You're just scared of what's going to happen. You've never messed with anything like this before.
I think that's a very.
Is that fair?
And it's one of the reasons to have a good wingman.
You gotta have wingman.
That's been down there, that's done it before. Marcus and I have both been down. I'm going to be going next month with a couple of veterans and to help them understand. I try to tell people just be curious, lean into this, be curious about what this is going to do for you. Don't worry so much about what it's going to do to you, because we've sent over 1,000 down there. There's been no negative reactions. You got a great medical staff that's there. Ambio does a fabulous job of preparing, having a doctor, nurses, technicians, and people that are all very, very experienced with this.
And some of the stuff we say, we're like, what does that mean? When you leave it, I know it's confusing. When you get in there, you'll know. You'll be, oh, that's what he meant. It becomes really clear. It makes it really clear. If you have a fear, it'll bring it up and be like, hey, I don't want you to be afraid of this. I got you. And then with the wingman's crucial. Because when I was like, hey, man, what is this? What's happening to me? It's okay. This is what's going down.
So you're consciously being able to talk to somebody
if you want.
that's in the room.
Yeah, if you want.
Yeah.
But like I said, most people, when they get in, you understand it, because imagine it's a perfect teacher, a perfect instructor. Like, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go here. I got this. We're going to check this out. It'll bring something up. And you're like, it's kind of upsetting. We're like, all right, man, we're going to push this off to the side a little bit. We're going to work on this.
But you're talking about your subconscious.
Your subconscious comes into full view, like the stuff that you don't want to.
One of the most interesting stories that I heard about, because everybody always asks, what's it like? What was it like? And it's different for everybody. And I think that's, kind of one of the fascinating things.
How about that, right?
He had a disassociative event. And I think for me, this is one of the most powerful displays of how the medicine worked for him. Is he was up here just viewing a landscape, a western landscape. It was kind of a desert, mountains in the background, and a single farmhouse with a man sitting in a rocking chair on the front of this wooden porch, just rocking. And it was him. And he knew he was watching himself rock on the disassociative event. And in the far distance, there was a plume of dust way out in the distance. And as he watched himself rock on this porch, he also saw this plume of dust getting closer, and it got close enough, and it was a car. And it was a convertible Cadillac. And as it got close enough to see who was driving it, it was him. He also saw himself sitting on the porch rocking, and he saw this convertible Cadillac approaching the old farmhouse, and it pulled up right in front of the farmhouse. Stopped, put it in park, made eye contact. And he said, I knew this was me on the porch and me in the car and me watching it up here. And he said, we made eye contact. The me in the car kind of got a wry smile on my face. He put the car in drive and he waved. We never said a word and drove away. He said, at that moment, I knew that everything bad that had ever happened to me, everything bad that I'd ever done, was forgiven. He said it was the most redemptive process that I've ever been through in my life. And, that was his story. And that cleansing and that resetting, it had from my perspective, a very powerful spiritual impact. And, everybody has, there are some people that it's just a blank.
They'll go in and black the whole time.
Just a black screen in front of you. But the medicine's working.
Yep.
The medicine is dealing with whatever.
They're the best to talk to later. couple weeks, month after that, we call it a honeymoon phase. When you get done with it, there's this period of when it's kind of loading. Another way I like to reference it is it's like a symbiote. When you're putting the doctor inside, he goes to work on it, and it's just like, hey, I'm going to keep everything cool and relaxed. And then later down the road, you talk to him like, oh yeah, it worked. I mean, it did some stuff that I couldn't even see happening.
So back to like, you feel like you're going to throw up. You're awake all night. At what point do you just fall asleep?
It releases you.
I
don't think I ever fell asleep.
Yeah. The other physical effect of this is ataxia. And ataxia is a physical, you lose control of your limbs, so to speak. It has a central nervous system effect. It doesn't happen to everybody, but some have pretty severe ataxia.
For how long?
3 or 4 hours.
3 or 4 hours, maybe.
Yeah.
That's when you come out brand new and you get tucked into you're back in your body. It's been cleaned out, pressure washed and everything, and you're just trying to get connect everything back into it. It's dude. I remember my last run. I was loading the Gospels. I was listening to the Gospels while I was loading that up, and I pulled one of my earbuds out, and it fell on me. And I was trying to grab that little thing and put it back in my ear.
And your ataxia was so bad.
Shaking so bad I couldn't get it.
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
Yeah.
Is there a point though that you're like, oh, it's gone? Like you're completely sobered up per se.
They call Wednesday Gray Wednesday,
right? Because
you've thrown up, you haven't slept, you're physically and mentally spent. I'll use that as I think a pretty good. So Wednesday is you go to your room, you sleep, you try to eat, you just kind of feel a little punk.
It is, right? It's like you feel good. I mean, you feel worn out like you ran a Tough Mudder or a race, or you just kind of went through something.
I was just kind of spent. And the Thursday morning, had a really good night's sleep. And Thursday morning, I woke up with just this really, really happy,
amen,
calm, and the thought came to me, this is how you're supposed to feel for the rest of your life. And it was as satisfying a feeling as I've had to that point in my life. And so the Thursday is kind of the first day of the rest of your life, and in a good way.
It was.
So that's the.
I slept all night after that.
The 24-hour afterward is, I think, a regenerating, recouping, and anyway, again, it goes back to. This is really different medicine.
Right. So it's fair to say it is kind of like a surgery, but you're just taking a pill, but your body is going through this process for 36 hours of regenerating itself.
I don't
know if we have the.
We don't understand
what's
I
really
think,
going down
medically how this works. We may never know. My interest here is in. I've seen the results of 1,000 plus, mostly war fighters that we've sent down to Mexico. There's some other facilities. I think in Mexico, a facility called Beyond that also. I think they serve more civilian population. I don't know that much about them, but Ambio, I'm very comfortable that they're the group that Dr. Nolan Williams, who did the Stanford study, and I think it might be a good time just to talk about that Stanford study. 2023, I think, was when it 30 veterans 42 to 18 years of age. They all had moderate to severe PTSD. They went through there's a psychological test that psychiatrists, psychologists give. I can't remember the name of it. It's in something 5, where they ask you about, are you this? Are you that? Are you sleepless? Have you tried to kill yourself? Have you, they ask all of these different questions. Moderate to severe PTSD. The bulk of them had exhibited traumatic brain injury results. Over half of them had alcohol issues. 8 of the 30 had already tried to kill themselves. And they were treated. Well, they were fMRI, the functional MRI, which is the most technical MRI that you can get in today's world, at Stanford, at the hospital there. They had a pre-treatment baseline fMRI. They went to Mexico, they were treated. A week later, they were given a follow-up fMRI at 30 days and at 6 months. There's an interesting little side story here. When the postdoc students who gathered all this information up and put it into report form to give to Dr. Williams, he looked at it. This is an MD, PhD, brilliant psychiatrist, neurosurgeon.
Got every quality known to man.
Yeah, this guy's just brilliant. He looked at the data and he sent it back. And he said, throw everything out that you put in here, put everything back in. You have made, somewhere or another, a massive mistake. This can't be correct. And they were not happy campers that they had to go redo all of their work, but they did. And the data came back exactly the same. 88% of those in that clinical trial had basically zero PTSD after 1 week. Now we know that, and when the trial was published in Nature magazine, I think they had only had 30 days. And now we have a year past data. They still have zero symptoms of PTSD. I mean, this is past stunning, and this is off the charts. I mean, that's the reason that this highly trained neuroscientist looked at this data and said this can't be right, but it is, and that's. I mean, this is just the type of where people say it's too good to be true, but it is true, and that's why we need to, in the state of Texas, lead the nation, put these clinical trials in place, and lead the nation in changing mental health care that will save, I will suggest to you, millions of lives across this country once it's fully available to
all of them,
the public.
To help all of them.
Yeah.
Isn't UT Dell Medical Center, they have a psychedelic study wing or something?
I'm not familiar with that. I know Berkeley does. I did a NPR radio program day before yesterday with Brian Hubbard and I, and there's a lady there who works in she works at NPR in Austin, but she's associated with the psychedelic department at Cal Berkeley, and Dell may have one as well. Mm-hmm. I know ketamine's a compound that they're using. The interesting thing about ibogaine, it's actually not a psychedelic in the classic sense.
Yeah, every time they
yeah,
say that, I'm like,
yeah.
hey, look, I get all there is that, but when ibogaine's its own thing.
Yeah, it's a psychoactive compound. It's
Yeah.
not a psychedelic, and that's again the reason when it got swept up with all of these other compounds back in the 70s. They put everything under
One roof.
Schedule 1 for political purposes. This was, Richard Nixon had his enemies list, and blacks and hippies were on that list, and they were, look, I'm not trying to defend anything that was going on in that period of time, but all of those compounds were being abused for recreational purposes in a lot of cases, and ibogaine, because it is a psychoactive drug. And if we went out on the street today, Marcus, and said, and interviewed 1,000 people and said, can you tell me what ibogaine, have you ever heard of ibogaine? I'm going to tell you 990 would say, never heard of it, at least. I mean, it's very rare that anybody says, oh yeah, I know what that is. And that's part of why I'm on your podcast today, and part of why I'm doing what I'm doing is to help educate the public that, look, this isn't some crazy, hippie 60s psychedelic that is used for a recreational purpose. This is a very powerful plant medicine that God gave us, and we need to be smart enough to appropriately and safely administer it, realizing that there is this cardiac risk. Let me make something really clear. If you're listening to this and you're thinking about, I think I'll go get me some ibogaine, I'll go find a way to get some ibogaine and take it, don't do it. And do not in any way think that you can take this as a recreational or for any other purpose.
And you don't want to show up in the house like that.
No.
It'll know. And afterwards, I mean, I thought about that a lot. You imagine somebody dosed somebody with that, didn't know what in the hell happened to them. When you come out of that with that clarity, you realize what exactly that is. That's the thing, is you wake up different, thinking different. I was curious as to how we were gonna get that to the people. Of course, there's going to be people who try it, obviously, and they'll probably be the best advocates for, you can't abuse it.
It should not be abused at all. And it shouldn't even be, even if, I think there are a lot of people that are starting up clinics and stuff like that. Go to somewhere reputable.
Yep.
Do your homework. Make sure that there's coaching before, that you have coaching afterwards.
There's facilitators. And that's one of the reasons that this needs to be appropriately studied. And that's why the Texas clinical trials can be so important. And it'll start a process of training up facilitators, training up people that are well-versed in how to implement this across the board. And as we start to grow and listen, I don't have a problem with, people investing in and making money. That's not my interest, but people can and will, and capitalism's a good thing. And if we can, my visionary goal is to, in 5 years, that this is pretty standard procedure and a product that is available and appropriately overseen by the government and the medical community. And that you think about the prison system and the number of people that are in prison, and they started down that path because of a substance abuse, an addiction. You think about the homeless in the streets out there, and how many of those people started down that path that ended them up on the streets of Austin, Texas, for instance, because of a substance abuse. And if we have access to a compound that can stop that, think about the literally billions of dollars that this country will save every year in not having to deal with that many people going to prison, that many people showing up on our streets in a homeless condition. and just the cost of addictions. I mean, we spend billions of dollars in this state to treat people who have mental health issues. So for me, yes, this is about the human condition. And most importantly, this is about the human condition. You know, if we can give people their lives back, if we can help them, give them hope, then that's what a great and extraordinary gift.
Man,
but if we can save this money that could be spent for, you know, better schools,
On our kids. Yeah, that's what I was
better
thinking.
infrastructure.
Could you, I mean, is there a way to use it as a clinical trial through the prison system?
You know, I'll leave that up to the legislature to come up with
That would be an
the proper
incredible
structure. But I would suggest to you that's a good clinical trial. Is, you know, go to the prison system. You've got a population there that's pretty well controlled. You can do a very good controlled clinical trial right there. Good idea.
So with the Texas Ibogaine Initiative, what are all of the goals?
Well, obviously, getting the legislature to see the importance of this, and I certainly think they will. If you'll recall, 4 years ago, we passed, I think, House Bill 1802 that allowed for. This was before I was actually educated on the compound ibogaine, but we knew that psilocybin, which is the active ingredient in the mushrooms, had very good results dealing with, for instance, people who had terminal conditions and they had deep depression because of that, and treated with psilocybin, and it had very good results. So we passed a piece of legislation allowing for clinical trials in the state of Texas. I think Dr. Lynette Averill is in charge of that now. And it passed overwhelmingly, I think 142 to 8 in the, something like that, 142 to 7 in the State House, and passed overwhelmingly in the Senate, became law. And so it's being implemented now. So this isn't a pig in a poke, so to speak, for the Texas legislature. They've looked at, and in the case of psilocybin, a classic psychedelic that properly used, properly diagnosed, properly dosed, properly taken through these clinical trials, has a very legitimate use for depression, for instance. So I think ibogaine, there's no reason that the Texas legislature wouldn't go, you know what, we need to make this available. We need to pass this. We need to do the clinical trials for two reasons. Number one, obviously the direct impact on the human condition and the amount of money that can be saved. You know, Texas led the nation back in the mid-2000s by doing criminal justice reform. We were all a little bit hesitant. You know, we're tough on crime in Texas, man. We build prisons and we throw them in jail and we throw the key away. That was our reputation, right, Marcus? Mm-hmm. And I had a district judge come to me, I want to say it was in 2003, 2004, and he said, Governor, we're doing these courts, drug courts, up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And he said, what we're doing is we're being able to intervene with these people who have broken the law. They did something outside of our laws. They, got involved with drugs and they shouldn't have. And we're not saying that they're not going to be punished. But rather than sending them to prison and straight up, and you learn how to be a real professional criminal once you go to prison. Mm-hmm. if we could intervene before they get to prison and send them to a shock camp, send them to a boot camp, send them to a rehab, send them to some other way to get this addressed before we have to send them to prison, then we're seeing really good results in that. And that was the seed that got planted in Texas in the early, mid-2000s that caused a very large criminal justice reform legislation to be passed. We shut down, I want to say, 8 different prisons, saved over $3 billion in the next 6 years. It has grown substantially from that. The savings have been stunning. And Texas was the model for the rest of the country. And there were a lot of other states that followed Texas' model on criminal justice reform. And if you want to see its results, in 2018, Brooke Rollins, who now is the Secretary of Agriculture, I asked Brooke to come up and brief President Trump at Bedminster on how the criminal justice work had transpired in Texas and why it was successful. And he was a little bit hesitant, like I was when I first was going, hey, I'm a hard, tough on crime Republican. And we said, yes, sir, but we want you to be smart on crime. And Brooke is one of the brightest, most capable kids I've ever dealt with before. And she and myself and I think Governor Bivens from Kentucky, we all sat around a table and talked to President Trump. And he's an incredibly wise man, a very quick study. And he saw the wisdom and the result that could be good. And I will suggest to you that when he came on board, he said, we need to do this. They passed it. It became the law of the land. And I think that single effort had a lot to do with African American and Hispanic voters looking at him in 2024 and him doing incredibly well in those populations. Now, obviously, there were other things as well, his economic policies. But they had 4 years to see this national criminal justice reform being implemented, and that this was a president who understood what had happened to those populations historically.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like some people were locked up just for having a joint or something.
Yeah.
Like that's the stupidest
and so
thing.
My point with telling that is that Texas has historically led the nation on some things that Republicans were kind of like a little cautious with. Mm-hmm. Criminal justice reform being one of them. I think this use of ibogaine is another one that can have a massively powerful, positive effect on this country, and I think even in the world. I haven't talked about this much, but in the last couple of weeks, I've had some conversations with potentially taking this into Israel. You talk about a country that has PTSD.
Yeah.
And not just the war fighters.
Yeah, just the trauma of what they've gone through. And so I think there's a real potential in places in Ukraine where those people there have had extraordinary, notwithstanding what you may think about the war in Ukraine one way or the other, mm-hmm. but the human side of this, and being able to help those people get their brains reset and get over the trauma and get back to living a productive life. I'm convinced that it works. I'm convinced that we need to clinically trial it, and for the naysayers and those that are still not believers, we'll go prove it to you. Mm-hmm. Give us that opportunity to prove it to you, because we'll save your loved ones. Every one of us, somewhere in our family, has that individual who's addicted, has that individual who's got the mental health challenge, who's got the, and frankly, I think these trials will lead to some very interesting results with Parkinson's, with MS, with ALS.
these conditions that affect the mind.
Dementia
Who knows?
could be.
Who knows?
That would be amazing.
Just kind
So,
of scratching the surface with it.
what do you say to the people that say it's too good to be true?
Let's find out. Let's do the clinical trials. If it's too good to be true, we'll prove it. I think what we're going to find is that we'll get a new definition for too good to be true.
I like it. Let's change the world.
One person at a time. I think that what you'll run into is, because it's expensive, obviously, but then the ability to get it to people.
You know, I think the more you scale up,
Yeah.
and it's going to
Open it up even more.
The cost will obviously go down. I think the treatment's about $10,000 for a week down in Ambio. But if I could tell you, and listen, I get it, $10,000, $10,000, and it's not the same for everybody. But if I could tell you, I can give you your loved one back, and it's going to cost $10,000. In a lot of places, they're going to say, "Where can I sign up?"
That was the best money I ever spent.
Best money I ever spent.
I've heard of people spending $25,000-$50,000 at rehabs.
Yes.
And months there.
Yeah.
Like having to spend
Keep going back.
Yeah, at rehabs
Yeah.
where, I mean, honestly,
And the
that's what-
results have not been too terrific.
no, they end up back. They end up going back. So when you think $10,000-$15,000 to go down there, whatever it is, that's half the cost of going to a rehab and a third of the time.
Yeah, and when you look at the results, when you look at that Stanford, and I highly recommend everyone on the podcast look up Stanford Ibogaine study and read the results of it. This is amazing results. I know it's only one clinical trial, but again, that's what we're asking people to do is talk to your legislator. Say, hey, I heard this on Team Never Quit podcast that this Ibogaine, Texas Ibogaine initiative, and I'm really curious about it. Take a look at it. We need to do this in the state of Texas.
It's taken some of the hardest, gnarliest men I ever. You know them, you met them, and then after this, they're good.
They're still hard and gnarly.
Oh, they're the
No,
they're more dangerous actually because they're level-headed.
Yeah.
And they got all their
Clear-minded.
faculties back, so that now they know their weapon systems are all in line and order and cleaned up. So I know I talked to a lot of my guys, and they're just like, I don't want them to take my badass away from me, and
Yep.
this, that, and the other. And I was like, I get that.
Yep.
I was scared to death of that. I didn't want
Yep.
to come back some sensitive
That
ass.
was your
freaking-
fear. You're like, you're going to make me a pussy.
I don't want to be a pussy. Damn it, this, that, and the other.
I know that is for war fighters.
Yeah.
That's one of the, that's one of the pushbacks. Is like, you know what? I'm gonna lose my edge. I'm. No, you won't. Make your edge sharper. Make your focus.
It gets rid of those burrs.
So really one of the interesting things that we hadn't talked about here, and this is me giving observations, I'm not going to say, and again, it's why we need to study this. It's why we need these clinical trials. The brain functionality, the increase of activities, the prefrontal cortex, that area in the front of the brain where your focus, your concentration, your executive functions reside. 27% increase after 1 week after the treatment. Had the fMRI scan done, treatment a week later, and there was a 27% increase in the prefrontal cortex activity. In every one of the warfighters in that 30-person clinical trial, there was measurable increase of the white matter. The white matter is your superhighway. That's what moves thoughts around in your brain. At 6 months, this individual had a volumetric increase of 71% of the brain cortex. I mean, that is
Those are unbelievable numbers.
That is regenerating the brain,
which is supposed to be impossible.
which is supposed to be impossible. So let's study this. Let's find out if what we're seeing is even close to being what the average is going to be across the population out there. We would be insane not to figure out a way to make this available to the people of this country, particularly to those who have literally been willing to give their lives for our freedom.
This should be the most studied compound in the U.S. right now.
I mean, most of the stuff you see on TV, you can't even say the name of it. And the side effects are rectal bleeding out of your eyes and freaking, you can't hear nothing it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
This doesn't have that.
The pharmaceutical commercials are just
They're great.
They're
now they got
ridiculous.
songs to them and everything. It's the weirdest thing, but this
It's big business.
big business, right?
That's what it is. It's big business.
I do want to, you gave a shout out to vets earlier, but I want to say when we talk about the price and how much it costs to go down there, vets, Amber and Marcus Capone have put through, nearly
Over a thousand.
over a thousand
Over 1,000
people. And the veterans didn't have to pay for it. That is an amazing act of healing for people. And so
So Marcus and Amber Capone, if there's ever a monument to
I became
veterans' mental health, they're going to be on it. They are the they are the absolute greatest purveyors of this. I call myself the Johnny Appleseed of Ibogaine because I'm going around talking about it all the time. But Marcus and Amber and what they've done, the number of lives that they've saved, there's a special place in heaven for those two.
So if y'all see them walking around, respect.
Well, they'll be in Texas helping on this.
Yeah.
They're not directly involved with the Texas Ibogaine Initiative. They kind of fly out here. They're good wingmen, so to speak, on the effort. And you're going to see them in Austin, Texas, over the course of the next 4 months as we try to pass this. And
Give them suckers a medal.
give them. They certainly need. The governor's got the ability to make somebody an honorary Texan. They sure.
Oh, that's a good idea.
They sure deserve it.
Make her a yellow rose.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good idea.
I love that.
They earned that for sure. He's great. He's one of the ones too. I tell you what, the love of a woman, right, and a wife, to go through all that and then push us into that.
She matter of fact, the movie that they're involved with is coming out. It's called Of Waves and War. It'll be out, I think, just right now, early 2025. As a matter of fact, I don't have the date, but I think it's February. I'll try to get it, but look it up. We're going to show it in Austin to the legislators, and hopefully there'll be some others. But Of Waves and War, and it is taking 5 of these war fighters that they sent down in that 30-person clinical trial, and it's a documentary, about an hour and 40-something minute documentary of their experience, and it shows them going in, and they are some messed up dudes.
Well, one of them is a very good friend of ours, DJ Shipley, who is
big tall drink of water.
one of our favorite human
Yeah.
beings on earth, and he was so supportive. Marcus probably doesn't even know this, but when Marcus was going down, DJ and Patsy were so supportive to me while Marcus was going down.
I fought that, man. I didn't want to.
Yeah, he was kind of fighting it at first, but the Shipleys were an amazing support system to me and then to Marcus once he went through. So
that's who they sent me with too. Helped.
Yeah,
that helped a lot.
But this movie is going to change a lot of hearts and minds. it's hard to argue with the data. I mean,
And the guys they picked to be on that, when
yeah.
you see them, it's hard. I mean, all them guys that are like us were thinking this is like, there ain't no one tougher than them dudes. Maddie's in that too.
Yeah.
And he's a tough son of a bitch. He was with me in Afghanistan. He's just a freaking war fighting machine. And he went down there.
yeah. And who's the boy that married Danny's?
That's DJ. Who
DJ.
we were
That's
talking
DJ.
about.
That's,
yeah.
that's Shipley. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That's powerful movie.
Yeah.
And when people see that, it's going to have huge impact. And again, hats off to Marcus and Amber for making it happen. It's
It definitely helps out. I would have never gone down if my buddies ahead of me didn't go. And
Yeah.
then guys, men that I looked up to, like leadership and leadership roles.
yeah. Well, and that's that's why we're doing what we're doing now.
Yeah.
Is I had a political consultant who's a friend and cares about me and what have you. And when it became public that I was starting to talk about this, and I actually found out about it through your brother when I went up to DOE as the Secretary of Energy. I asked Morgan to go up to work with me because I wanted some people that I knew that I trusted, because I'm walking into a part of the world that I spent most of my political career suing Washington, D.C. about something. And then I find myself up there in the middle of it as the Secretary of Energy. And so I
loved
wanted
it when you
some
had
people,
that job.
yeah, so I wanted some people up there that I trusted, I knew would have my backside. And Morgan was working on his PhD in brain science at the University of Texas at Dallas. And I said, hey, would you put that on hold and go up there with me? And which he graciously did. And that's when I heard the first conversations about people going to Mexico to be treated with this plant-based medicine. And I told him, I said, you need to be careful with that. But I was curious, and so I started studying and talking to people and what have you, and became a believer. I went from skeptic to, today, as a positive person about this as you can find anywhere. But I had one of my political consultants, when he first heard me talking about this publicly, he called me up and he said, Governor, what are you doing? You're about to throw 40 years worth of conservative political philosophy out the door. You need to be really careful with this. And I said, well, I appreciate your concern. I really do. Thank you you've looked after me for lots of years and given me good advice. But I've studied this, and I have come to believe that this is what it says it is,
Right.
and I believe it, and I'm convinced of that. But I said, more importantly, my reputation's not worth more than their lives.
Man, I'd feel worse if I didn't say something. If they found out I knew this and I didn't give it to them, that's when it would get bad.
So I saw and I can't. Oh, I tell you who it was. It was. Is it Penn Jillette, Teller and Penn? The two,
Penn and Teller, yeah.
I think that's his name. He's an atheist, and I saw a program.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah,
Like
big time
advertising.
atheist. Which, by the way, there have been a number of atheists who have gone down there and be treated, and when they came back, they weren't atheists.
Oh, well, when you check in with God.
But anyway, I saw this program, and actually I saw it at Lake Hills Church, and it was him talking about this guy that came up to him after one of his shows, and he said, oh, Mr. Teller, I'm, or Gillette, I think, it's Penn Gillette, came up to him and said, big fan of yours and what have you, and I'd like for you to have this track. I'm a Christian, and I want you to have it. And so the guy was proselyting him, telling him about Jesus, telling him about eternal life. And this Gillette said that he really respected that guy for doing that. And it was kind of to my point that I made. He said, how bad you got to hate somebody? If you really believe that, in this eternal life and Jesus, and if you really believe that, how bad you got to hate somebody that you don't go tell them about it?
Right.
And that's how I got to this point with Ibogaine. My reputation, whatever it may be worth, is not more worth more than their lives. And how bad you got to hate somebody that you don't go tell people about this on a regular basis.
Has the consultant changed his mind?
Yes.
Awesome.
They all do.
Yeah. I mean, it is a hard thing to swallow at first because we all have this stigma because
so is Ibogaine.
it's called psychedelic. You know, it's what people say, it's a psychedelic, and it's like, oh, that's a bad drug.
Well, we've been told for 60 years that, psychedelics are bad because they were abused, Timothy O'Leary, LSD,
Yeah,
all
MK
that
Ultra,
kind of stuff
all
in
that
the
stuff.
60s. And I mean, I grew up in that period of time. And, it was, and then we were, in the 70s, it's bad. We had Miss Reagan. Just say no.
Yeah.
I mean, the government has told us that these compounds are bad. They're bad. They're bad. They're bad. Well, recreationally used, going and buying them off the street corner.
It's bad.
Yes, they are, and they need to be controlled. There needs to be
Yeah.
a war on drugs, so to speak.
Yeah.
But let's be smart about it. It's just like, I go back and I'll rehash this just a touch. It's just like criminal justice reform. We're tough on crime. We put them in jail and throw the key away. You messing with our people, and you're gonna go to jail for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But let's be smart about it.
Yeah.
If there are people who've made mistakes that we can help, that we can keep them from going to prison, having to pay for that,
Yeah.
why wouldn't we?
Matter of fact, if you messed up, if you messed up, broke the law, you had to take Ibogaine, you wouldn't break the law.
Could you imagine that being a part
I was
of your
thinking about, I was
sentence?
like, hey man, you want to talk about a sheriff? Imagine if you knew if you broke one of the major rules, you had to go take that stuff.
Interesting.
And I thought about that. I was like, if I knew I had to do that, that's why that keeps my butt in the rails. I mean, from the time I get up to the time I go to bed, I literally have the best day of my life, no matter what's going on out there. In my heart, I feel all of that. And I think about it constantly. There's a reminder in my head to act right. I told her the other day, I was like, the first 49 years of my life, I don't think I was good. I think I was acting up. And I apologize for that profusely and everything that I did. It made that very clear to me. And I don't look back. I look forward. I mean, it was kind of it made me who I am, just like everything that we did and our reputations. But you saw what we did in the beginning. What do you see what we do now?
There's a lady that's helping us who's come on board to assist us with educating the public, and in particularly educating the media. Her name's Ann Claire Stapleton.
Check.
You met
Okay.
Ann Claire. Just a fabulous lady. Matter of
She's
fact,
great. Yeah, absolutely.
won another Emmy for, that's her second Emmy that she's won for reporting in war zones. She was a CNN international reporter in the war zones, and she was in, I think in Ukraine, this last one. But anyway, she has left CNN, and this is full-time passion for her.
Mm-hmm.
And she's doing a fabulous job. As a matter of fact, there's she did a short clip. I was thinking about what you were talking about. Chase Rowan, former 3rd Ranger Battalion, had a jump accident where his chute didn't deploy and he hit the ground 50, 60 miles an hour and caused him great traumatic brain injury.
Mm-hmm.
And for 17 years, this guy was on opioids. I mean, just, bless his heart, wrecked multiple cars, in jail 3 times, lost his home. It's just, opioids destroy so many lives.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2023, he got introduced to Ambio and Ibogaine and changed his life. I mean, that's the story that can be told time and time again. I mean, you think about what this country's been through with the opioid addictions, the opioid epidemic, the the number of lives lost, number of lives and families destroyed because of this opioid addiction, and quite frankly, the sad story of how opioids were foisted upon this country.
I was say, man, that's the craziest thing because you got to get a prescription for those things, man. That's been handed out by the doctors.
And that's the sadness of this story, is that
The ones that are supposed to heal us.
and the the opioid the opioid industry, which is exactly what it was, and the billions of dollars that they made, and the millions of lives that were lost. It's just nothing right about that. But this compound can turn that around, and the people who are still addicted to today to opioids, in a lot of cases, one treatment.
Right.
It's
And this
gone.
didn't come from no human or no pharmaceutical company or anything. I just came from the earth, straight from God.
Yep.
Well, thank you for coming on today
You're welcome.
and talking about
It's always
it.
good to get to hang out with y'all. Kind of reminds me of the old days.
Yes.
Good times.
Who's the crazy boy up on the third floor of the house?
In the
that's
attic.
The creep. The creep.
I had so much fun there. I love y'all to death. Thank you for saving my life.
We
man.
had some extraordinary stories, some that we can't tell
To the
yet. but
grave.
We're still not going to
I
tell.
remember to the grave. Like looked each other dead in the eyes. To the grave.
No.
It was great.
I love you,
man.
brother.
Love you, man.